Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
Hey there. And yeah, this week's news stack is really interesting. There's this huge kind of structural tension going on.
Tension, how so?
Well, on one hand, we're seeing these absolutely jaw-dropping leaps in tech. I mean, building massive AI supercomputers to tackle, national problems.
Right, like science fiction becoming real. But then the flip side.
Exactly. That same incredible speed is pushing companies to restructure like crazy. Often means big layoffs.
And finding new ways to make money off us, the users, sometimes in ways we don't exactly love, like more ads maybe.
Precisely. So our mission today is to sort of dig into these stories, look at the sources, and figure out what this push and pull between amazing tech power and, let's call it corporate efficiency, actually means for you listening right now and for the whole digital economy.
Okay, let's dive in. Starting with the power side. This is huge. $1 billion partnership, AMD and the Department of Energy.
Yeah, $1 billion for two brand new supercomputers at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. This isn't just upgrading. This is like next generation infrastructure for AI breakthroughs.
Wow. Okay, so tell me about Discovery. That's one of them, right? What makes it special?
So the key thing with Discovery, what you really need to grasp is this new architecture. They're calling it bandwidth everywhere.
Bandwidth everywhere. Sounds impressive, but what does it actually do? Why is it such a big step?
Think of it like getting rid of all the traffic jams inside the computer. You know how data usually has to travel between different parts, memory, processors, and it can get stuck?
Yeah, bottlenecks.
Right. Bandwidth everywhere basically lets data flow instantly and evenly across the whole system. No bottlenecks, which means much better performance, and it's way more energy efficient compared to older machines like Frontier.
Okay, that makes sense. A structural leap, like you said.
Yeah.
And the DOE isn't spending $1 billion just for kicks. What problems are they aiming this fire hose of computing power at?
Well, the big focus areas are things like national security, developing advanced materials, and critical infrastructure stuff.
So we're talking simulations for designing new nuclear reactors.
Yeah.
Better batteries.
Exactly that. Plus modeling complex biological systems, speeding up semiconductor research, basically using massive computation to solve problems that are currently just too hard, too slow to figure out.
That's a peak then.
Yeah.
The absolute ceiling of what we can do computationally. Pure growth, pure ambition.
Yeah.
But then we have to look at the other side of the ledger. How this drive for efficiency, maybe partly fueled by AI, impacts people.
Yeah.
Let's pivot to Amazon cutting, was it 14,000 corporate jobs?
Yeah, and that juxtaposition is it's the core paradox we're talking about. These layoffs, okay, they were part of a bigger cost-cutting thing, but leadership explicitly linked them to tech advances.
They actually said AI was a reason.
A senior exec pointed right at this generation of AI and said it lets them innovate faster and means they need to be organized more leanly.
Leanly. Which
Yeah.
usually translates to fewer roles, right?
But didn't Amazon's official spokesperson try to walk that back a bit?
They did. The official statement tried to shift the focus, saying the majority of cuts were about reducing bureaucracy, not AI directly.
Mixed messages. What do we make of that?
Honestly, the fact they even had to clarify speaks volumes. Whether AI is directly axing 5 jobs or 5,000, the conversation itself has shifted. Automation, efficiency. They're now openly part of the justification for restructuring workforces.
So the takeaway is more tech power can mean companies feel they need fewer humans for certain tasks.
It definitely seems that way for routine or administrative stuff, yeah.
And when that cheaper, faster capability starts generating content, well, that leads to the next issue. AI slop. We should probably define that clearly. It's different from other AI problems, isn't it?
Totally different. So if you're seeing tons of really low effort, mass-produced stuff, online articles, images, maybe product reviews, that just feels off, lacks originality, maybe isn't fact-checked, that's likely AI slop. It's not like a deepfake, which is meant to trick you deliberately.
Right. And it's not like a hallucination where the AI just makes stuff up by accident. AI slop is more about indifference. Just churning out volume to grab quick ad money, flooding the internet with digital garbage.
The new spam, basically.
Right.
Are companies trying to fight it? I saw Spotify is starting to label AI-generated media.
Yeah, that's a start. Labeling brings some transparency, which is good. But, the big question is, does just labeling it actually stop the flood? Or is it more symbolic? Does it fix the underlying problem, which is that volume often equals clicks and clicks equal cash?
That's a tough one. And that whole push for monetization, controlling the experience, it leads us right into our phones and dashboards, doesn't it? Because the tech companies are definitely hunting for new places to put ads, even places we thought were safe.
Absolutely. Starting with Apple Maps. There are reports suggesting Apple might start putting ads in Maps maybe as soon as 2026.
Ads in maps like pop-ups while I'm
Yeah.
driving, please no.
Haha. No, probably not like that. The thinking is it'll be more subtle, like promoted spots in search results. You search for coffee shop, maybe Starbucks pays to appear higher up, similar to how ads work in the App Store now.
Okay, less intrusive, but still. Apple built its brand on being premium, ad-free. Isn't this risky? People are already annoyed by promotions in music and TV, plus back.
It is a tricky line for them. Users definitely get prickly about ads in Apple services, but then again, you look at Google Maps, they've had ads since, 2009? Apple might just feel like they're catching up to the standard way these things are monetized, even if it ruffles some feathers.
So while Apple is adding stuff to its ecosystem, GM is still tangled up in trying to remove things from the car dashboard.
Ah, yes, the never-ending car connectivity debate. GM's plan to eventually phase out Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in favor of their own system.
But they've had to soften that stance a bit, haven't they? Realize people actually, like CarPlay.
Seems like it. They clarified they won't just yank it from their gas cars overnight. It'll be more of a gradual phase-out over time. It really shows you the power users have when a company tries to push proprietary tech for something so integrated into daily life.
Okay, let's hop back from the car to the phone. Adobe dropped this really interesting experimental camera app, Project Indigo. It sounds like pro-level controls meet AI smarts.
Yeah, it's pretty cool for photo nerds. You get manual controls, white balance, shutter speed, the stuff pros want, but the AI is where it gets wild. It can upscale resolution for zoom, clean up noise, even remove reflections from photos.
I read about the zero-lag shutter. That sounds like magic. How does that even work?
It's quite clever, actually. The app is basically always capturing raw images in the background while you're framing your shot. It cycles through them, so when you finally hit the button, the moment you wanted was technically already captured a fraction of a second before. No delay, great for catching action.
That sounds amazing. Are there any downsides? There always seem to be trade-offs with these specialized apps.
There are. Using Indigo means you lose those standard Apple features like live photos or photographic styles, the ones that are baked into the main camera app. Plus, some reviewers found the raw files it creates, DNGs, don't always play nicely with software outside of Adobe's own stuff, like Lightroom. So it's powerful, but it kind of locks you into their workflow.
Gotcha. Okay, one last bit of pocket tech. Digital IDs in the Wallet app. Convenience versus security, right?
Pretty much. Apple's planning to let you add digital versions of U.S. passports to the wallet. The big deal is that it's designed to be Real ID compliant.
Meaning you could use it at TSA checkpoints in the U.S., skip pulling out the physical passport.
For domestic flights, yes. But, and this is super important, it absolutely does not replace your physical passport for international travel, not even quick trips to Canada or Mexico. You still need the booklet for that.
And security. Having your passport data on your phone sounds potentially risky.
It is. The Identity Management Institute put out warnings. Centralized digital IDs are a big target for hackers, so users really need to be careful. Use strong passwords, enable two-factor authentication, keep your phone's software updated. Basic digital hygiene becomes even more critical.
That whole theme, concentrated power, centralized systems, seems to run through everything, even gaming. Let's talk about Microsoft and the future of Xbox.
Right. This is a potentially huge shift. Reports are saying the next Xbox might actually run a full Windows PC operating system underneath the console interface.
A full Windows PC, not just a lockdown console OS.
Exactly. Think of the console UI as just a layer on top of Windows. This is a massive change from the traditional closed-box console model.
Why would they do that? Does it tie into what the Xbox boss, Sarah Bond, said about exclusives being antiquated?
It aligns perfectly. If the next Xbox runs Windows, it could potentially access games from other stores, Steam being the obvious big one, without needing complex workarounds. Microsoft seems to be shifting strategy, positioning Xbox less as just hardware and more as a gateway to a broader gaming platform or service, like a specialized gaming PC.
Interesting, but if it's running Windows, privacy questions pop up immediately. Especially with AI features like the gaming co-pilot, there was some fuss about that.
There was. Microsoft had to step in and clarify things. They stated very clearly that the gaming co-pilot does not use screenshots of your gameplay to train its AI. That's a line they say they won't cross.
Okay, no screenshots. But what about other data, like chat?
Oh, that's the catch. They did say it might use text or voice conversations you have with the AI itself to help train and improve the model. The key thing for users is knowing this is an opt-out feature. You have to go into the privacy settings to manage it if you don't want that happening.
Good to know. So this concentration of power, Windows, Xbox, cloud data, it loops back perfectly to the fragility of the infrastructure we all depend on, like that massive AWS outage recently.
Oh yeah, that was something. It took down a crazy range of services. Signal messaging, Ring doorbells, Snapchat, even Starbucks couldn't process payments properly in some places. It just showed how interconnected and dependent everything is.
And the head of Signal, Meredith Whittaker, really hammered this point home, didn't she, about the lack of alternatives?
She did. Her argument was basically that for a global service like Signal that needs low latency everywhere, there's no realistic alternative to using one of the big hyperscalers, AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud. Building your own planet-spanning network like that would cost billions. It's just not feasible for most companies.
So the internet feels decentralized to us as users, but the backbone, the actual infrastructure, it's incredibly centralized in the hands of just a few giants. When AWS sneezes, a big chunk of the digital world catches a cold.
That's a good way to put it. And we're even seeing this kind of infrastructure race impact how knowledge itself is created and shared. Two quick AI examples here. First, for developers, GitHub is launching something called Agent HQ.
Agent HQ sounds like a command center for coding bots.
Kind of. It lets developers throw a coding task at multiple AI agents simultaneously, like OpenAI's Codex, Anthropic's Claude, Google's Jules, maybe others. Then the developer can look at all the different solutions they come up with and pick the best one. It basically forces the AIs to compete, driving up quality.
Okay, that's using AI competition constructively. What's the other example?
More controversial.
A bit. Elon Musk's Grokopedia launched. It's an online encyclopedia with like 885,000 articles.
Based on?
Well, reports say many are adapted from Wikipedia, but the controversy is around how some topics, especially politically charged ones, are framed. We need to be neutral here, just reporting what the sources say.
Okay, so what's an example?
The classic one mentioned is climate change. Wikipedia's entry emphasizes a nearly unanimous scientific consensus on human causes, and Grokopedia.
Reports suggest its entry frames that consensus differently. It apparently mentions critics who argue that claims of near unanimity overstate the actual level of agreement. So the aim seems to be presenting a specific viewpoint or skepticism within that knowledge base.
Interesting. A sort of fork of knowledge reflecting a different perspective. The Wikipedia spokesperson had a great quote about it, didn't they?
They did. Summed it up perfectly. Even Grokopedia needs Wikipedia to exist. It kind of highlights the foundational role Wikipedia still plays.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this all up. What are the main themes we've hit today?
Well, first, AI is just accelerating everything, from building supercomputers and enhancing photos to, unfortunately, driving corporate layoffs. That efficiency has a clear human cost attached.
Right. And second, that relentless push for monetization means tech companies are squeezing ads and services into places they weren't before. Apple Maps, maybe phasing out CarPlay. Users are feeling that pressure.
Definitely. And finally, underpinning all of this is our incredible reliance on just a handful of massive cloud providers. The AWS outage was a stark reminder. When one of those giants falters, the ripple effects are huge and global. Our always-on world is maybe more fragile than we think.
That fragility, based on such concentrated power, that really feels like the key takeaway this week. We love the convenience, the seamlessness of modern tech, but it all rests on this tiny base of giant infrastructure providers. And most companies, like Signal, really have no other choice but to rely on them.
It really does make you wonder, doesn't it? What happens down the line if or when that concentration of tech power runs into serious political friction or regulation on a global scale? Something to think about.
Indeed. Lots to mull over. Thanks for tuning into Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.